Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the show We Are Free TV, the place where any person around the world is welcome to come over and talk to us about any subject, as long as it's not instigating violence or talking badly about another person, not even libel, just anything bad about another person. If that other person contacts us and says, "I'm not happy with what was said about me," we're going to remove the interview. Other than that, anything goes. Aliens, spirituality, channeling, new age subjects, alternative medicine, alternative way of life, anything alternative, anything new, anything fifth dimensional, anything that promotes new knowledge within humanity in order to help us move to the next stage that we're all so happy to be moving to. Everything goes in this channel, so you're welcome to contact us. Now, thank you very much for all your donations. If you wish to donate more, the details are up here. We heavily are dependent on your donations in order to stay an independent channel on our own servers, with our own infrastructure, away from the different terms and conditions and policies of famous platforms and you know who keep censoring us for allowing people to talk about the truth. So thank you for your donations. Also, please feel free and share this interview wherever you possibly can. Very important that you do that. You could post it on your Facebook, on your Twitter, send it by email, WhatsApp, Telegram, you name it. We have a Telegram group called No Censorship TV. It's highly recommended that you join this group, and then whenever we release a new video, a new interview in English, then we post it there, and that's it. We don't do any chit chat there or any information other than links to the interviews. Now, I'd like to show you something. In order to find us, all you need to do is go to Google, which you can see on my screen, and just search for We Are Free TV. One word, and here we go. This is us, the first result. Click on it. You'll see the Hebrew site. So, since we're based in Israel, all you need to do is click on the EN sign up here on the left, and that brings you to the English section of our website with all the English interviews, including this one. And it's highly recommended that you click on Join Us and then fill in this little form. Your name, your email, click Submit. You'll be sent an email and asked to reconfirm your subscription. Once you do that, you'll be on our mailing list and you'll receive every interview in English as and when it's released. So thank you very much for that. And today, my guest is Mr. Brad Johnson. He is an international spiritual teacher and channeler of Adronis. The name of our interview today is New Earth Teachings and the Unseen Forces, a talk with Brad Johnson on ETs, channeling, Sirius A, Adronis, and more. So, hello there, Brad. How are you today?
Hello, Michael. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Excellent. So, who's Adronis? What is it?
Yeah, I mean, this is a journey that goes all the way back to 2008. I was never really into a lot of the spiritual and metaphysical stuff prior to that time. And I was actually just working on a novel. I was working on a novel about the extraterrestrial presence and what real things are going on regarding that. So I just started researching, and I started looking into channels. I started looking into psychics, intuitives, Black Ops community personnel, just finding a lot more about what the entire situation with ETs are. And I was just so fascinated by what I discovered just through the research that it led me into putting the book aside and then starting to follow this new passion of mine, where I got into meditation, because before that time I never meditated at all. So I just took out a book in my local library called Learn How to Meditate, read it from front cover to back cover. Within a few days, I was able to go very, very deep into deeper states of meditation, and I was actually able to get a lot of downloads. As I go to sleep in the night, I was just getting all these different downloads, feeling like I was being taught within a non-physical classroom by kind of like these rays of light. And I just wake up the next morning knowing things I didn't know before. So it's kind of like there was a very large detoxification that was taking place at that time. So at first I got into meditation, then I got into kind of looking into energy healing, and I got into channeling. And then as I just got into channeling, I just started talking to other channelers and psychics and just kind of get an idea about what they did, how they were able to do
Anyone
what they were able
famous?
to.
Anyone we know?
Well, there was one person was Magenta Pixie. I was talking to her. She's quite a popular channel on YouTube at the time. There was another woman named Blossom Goodchild. I talked to her. There are a few other ones. No, they weren't too big up there. They were just kind of local people, so to speak.
And when you said you went to sleep and you woke up knowing stuff you hadn't known before,
knowing
for example, what you knew how to knit or how to sew suddenly, or how to surf?
Yeah, we could do that. Looking into the nature of the universe, understanding the nature of oneness, the different extraterrestrial civilizations that exist around us, the law of non-interference, right? It goes quite extensively. So kind of just getting ideas, impressions. It's kind of like you're thinking of something, and at the same time you're getting the answer at the same time you're thinking about it. Because I would think about those things, how we're all one, how we're all interconnected, and I would get this understanding that would come through very, very quickly. Looking into, again, other ET civilizations, looking into non-interference, looking into all these different things. And like I said, as soon as you have a thought, the clarity comes.
Okay.
So that's what continued to build it up over time, more and more.
So you did meditation and then channeling, and then you contacted all these channelers, and then?
Yeah, exactly. So I contacted a lot of these channelers, and then I went into channeling myself. So I kind of went from just looking at it as an observer, and I went into becoming a channel. So as I became a channel, I started looking into different civilizations. I would connect to different collectives, Pleiadian collectives, Arcturian collectives, inner Earth beings, inner Sun beings, central Sun beings, etc. And it wasn't until a friend of mine who was also a channeler came to me one night and said, well, Brad, you have very strong connections to the star of Sirius. And I feel like there is an entity there that would like to get in touch with you. So I said, okay, thank you for the message. Thank you for the heads up. So I went into my meditative state. I was basically doing channeled writing at the time. And I just connected to this intelligence. And he came through as Adronis. And he just started talking to me and saying that I'm a future version of you, 297 years in the future. I've come back at this time to assist in your spiritual evolution. And through our arrangement, as you spiritually evolve, you can take others with you to spiritually evolve as well, too. Is this an agreement that you would like to do? So I agreed. And then I started having that connection with Adronis, while also channeling some other beings as well, too. But Adronis became more of the prominent force to which I was connecting with.
So since that time, so similar to Bashar and Daryl Anka. Yeah, it's exactly the same story.
Yeah, well, not exactly.
Well, not exactly. No, he's a future reincarnation of Bashar and all that.
I didn't have any close-up sightings or anything of that nature. But basically what I did do is I went out into my balcony because I was getting all these downloads and I was getting all this clarity, and I was just saying, am I going crazy? Is this a crazy thing? What's happening here? So I just went out to my balcony and I just said a prayer. I just said, if there's anybody out there that would just like to show themselves to me, just so I know I'm not getting crazy, that'd be great, right? And as that happened, a star wiggled out of the sky and just shot across the sky. My ex-wife saw it with me as well too. So it was about a 30-second long sighting, just shooting right across the sky, right to the other end of the sky as well too. And so that's it. That's all I needed, right? So I needed that confirmation. The confirmation was given to me, and I'm going to pursue this with all of my heart. So that's what led to me moving on into all this work, doing this, because this has been the missing part of my life that has been happening for the past 13 years now. So yeah, I'm really happy just to continue to pursue this every day.
Bet. I would like to ask you before we continue. See, I've interviewed so many channelers on this channel, and I keep complaining that how come I can't channel, and I can't channel. I wish I could channel, and then I keep complaining about them saying, all the channelers say the same thing. Everyone can channel. Everyone can channel.
Everybody channels. That's what I was going to say to you. Everybody does channel. You just have to look at it in a way that best suits you, right? Your own personality is a channeling consciousness, right? Who you are as Michael is a channeling consciousness. So again, we just have to work in bringing and broadening ourselves into different vibrational rays of connection. And now we start bringing in these other intelligences that flow through us.
You make it sound so easy.
It's like a person who goes up on stage and they just instantly know what to say, right? So they know exactly what to say. They're just basically spontaneously sharing this great information. They don't even think about it. Right?
Yeah.
That's a challenge.
So I'll ask you the other question, So another thing I want to ask you, because obviously I don't buy it. I don't think I'm anywhere near as a channel as you are, or Bashar, or Pixie, or all those people you mentioned, not even Roxanne Swainhart. So how does it feel to be a channeler? I mean, for me, it's like, I wish I could channel, because it's like, seems like it's like a superpower. You know, you could connect with aliens and talk to them. It's like Superman. But then I see all the channelers seem to be like normal people. You know, you don't seem to be Superman at all. Although you're doing something which to me seems like, superhuman. So what am I missing?
Yeah, it's not really a big deal in that way. When you first have that contact, oh my God, this is cool. This is really, really cool. But when you're doing it for several years, it's not really that it's a big deal in that sense. Saying, oh my God, I have a superpower. No, you get out of that, right? That just becomes childish in that way. You're really looking at this just as a natural part of yourself. It's a natural component, and it's no more different than how you're getting up and brushing your teeth in the morning, right? So that's just it's a habit. It becomes natural to you. You align to it, and it just becomes part of your life. So Adronis will always say, you don't really have superpowers, you just have natural abilities.
Yeah.
And that's all this is, really just a natural ability to channel. Just like people have a natural ability to sing or natural ability to write, right? These are just natural abilities coming to you.
Yeah, but how about, for example, I know a lot about, I've learned a lot about, after death. I mean, after we die, what happens? Is there life after death? And I believe there is reincarnation and all that. But do I really believe in it? No. Well, you do, because you have the aliens backing it up. So it's easier for you.
Here's the important thing. Beliefs don't matter. Beliefs aren't important. You want to look into the idea about what actually is. Your beliefs are actually what's obstructing you from the world, from growing. So beliefs actually become much more of a cancer to you than anything else. So the more that you're actually able to strip away the beliefs rather than saying, well, I don't believe this or I don't believe that, well, that's your problem. That's your problem. Right? You have to look at that and start stripping away all the beliefs and just say, what is? Because there's going to be a lot of things happening in this world that you're not going to believe, but nonetheless do exist, right? So everything that is true that we can experience exists. So the whole idea is that once you're taking those blinders off, pertaining to the state of beliefs, you see the world in the greater perspective. It's exactly what I've been doing these past few years, is just clearing away as many beliefs as possible.
So,
right? And it certainly has illuminated the perspective of the world.
So how do you feel about life after death?
Well, there's no death. Can you prove that death exists? No, you can't. Right? The physical body may perish, but you don't. Right? You are forever. You are eternal. You are God. God is you. Right? I am. So again, we have to get out of this old belief, because people have been talking about death and saying, well, no one's been able to prove death. Scientists have never proved that death exists. Where is it? Right? So why do we fear that which does not happen? Right? There's only ever life. It's only just one eternal life. Right? So again, even when you leave this body, when you leave this reality, you are still within reality. You are still within life. That never ends. It is forever. The universe is not so incompetent to look into the idea of limitation based on life.
Yep. This reminds me of
humans, yeah, but not the universe, not God.
What? Not God? I didn't hear. The humans what?
Yeah, humans themselves can be incompetent, thinking that as soon as you die, that's it. There's nothing left to you. But the universe doesn't look at that way. It's eternity, right? Eternal life altogether. God is perfection.
Yep.
The universe is ongoing. It's forever. It's eternal. And so are you.
This I am that you said earlier, that sounds like non-duality, Advaita Vedanta. Mm-hmm. Are you familiar with all those teachings?
Non-dual. Yes. Mm-hmm. That's one way of looking at it.
Look, there's only one thing going on, and you're it, and I'm it, and we're all it. And
you're the only one here. There is nobody else. Right? So when you look at that way, and the reason why that's said is because the only perspective you will ever have is yours. You can't jump into another person's head and start looking and seeing what they have. You only have your perspective. So everybody else around you is just that reflection of yourself, because you will only have your own unique perspective of everything. Therefore, you're the only one here. So therefore, there is only you.
So if you were now talking to three people, Michael, John, and Harry, so you would look at all of us and say, Michael, John, and Harry, there's only you three. No, you said to me, Michael, there's only you. John, there's only you. And Harry, there's actually only you.
there's only you. Because again, I can't imagine what your observations are from that. When I'm saying John, Michael, and Henry, right, I'm just saying, well, you're just extensions of myself. And then they say, well, again, well, I'm perceiving you now, Brad, so you're just an extension of myself. Exactly. You got it. Right? I can't jump into your heads to see what your perspectives are because I'm the only observer in my reality, just as you're the only observer in yours.
So
there's
the
only one.
non-duality would say that the observer in Michael and the observer in Brad is the same observer.
Nope, they would just say there's only one observer.
Exactly. There's only one observer observing through all of us and everything.
Because there's no two, there's no two, there's no three, there's no four. Yeah. There's just one.
Yeah.
So again, that is knowing that you are God because you are the only observer in your reality. You are the only perceiver.
Amazing. It's so upside down. It's like we are so upside down.
We've been taught the upside down. That's the whole idea. We've been taught the upside down, and we're just going to turn it right.
Exactly. My God, we're so screwed. Okay, but in a way, that's the point, to get as screwed as you can, and then to get well, and then you feel exhilarated and happy and satisfied and fulfilled.
Yes.
So,
exactly.
What started in August 2008?
Well, that's what I just stated, was that I was working on a novel. I did research. I got into channeling and have been doing channeling this day. So the story I told earlier was what took place.
So what did you discover following your research on ETs? Did you say that?
Well, that led me to channeling Adronis, right? So basically, I started connecting with other collective consciousnesses as well too, and then I started connecting with Adronis, and then through that point, I started to make myself available with Adronis for others, because others were coming forward. They were excited that I was getting into channeling. They wanted to talk to Adronis. More and people loved talking to Adronis, and it just started to blow up from that point on. And then it took me about a year or two, and I started making this into a full-time business. But before that time, I was doing computer work, marketing, stuff like that, right? So I basically phased out the old life and came into this full-time because more and more people to have conversations with Adronis. So that's what led me onto this path.
Amazing. And what about Sirius A? I mean, how many Siriuses are there? A, B, C? I heard there's a D, or is there?
Sirius A, B, and C. Yeah, it's all part of the Canis Major constellation.
And is one of them a planet of whales and dolphins?
There are those that exist within those star systems, yes. But their whales are of different configuration. You can actually have them flying in the air. You can actually have them walking on land. So they have different variations of cetacean life in that way. But you have Sirius A, you have Sirius B, you have Sirius C. Adronis resides within the star of Sirius A.
I was told I'm from Sirius by channel.
Well, you're not really from Sirius. It's just another connection that you have.
What does that mean?
Well, basically, again, it's kind of like looking at your body as if it was connecting the dots, right? So here's a dot over here that's Sirius A. Here's the big central sun here that represents Earth, which you're a part of right now. But then there's all these little dots, all these little stars. And as you connect them together, they all represent memory. They all represent experience and expression. So you tap into them. And this is what we may call the Akashic records, right? We start going into the records. We start looking into other facets of ourselves. And we see how those facets of ourselves are part of our personality, right? So they're extensions. They're, again, kind of the connect the dot perception here.
Not sure
relating
I got
to
that.
Not just Sirius A, but just into other lifetimes, right? Are you familiar with other lifetimes, looking into other realities, looking into other lifetimes, right?
What do you mean?
That's really...
Other But before we get there, I didn't understand one thing. You said our sun. So our sun, as far as I know, is part of the solar system.
No, it's not like that. It's basically going through an analogy, right? Right now, you are a human being, Michael, right? So that's the central sun of your being right now. That's what you understand the most. That's what you're familiar with the most. Then you have other stars. They represent other aspects of you, right? So there's a version of you here on Sirius. There's a version of you here in Atlantis. There's a version of you here in Egypt. There's a version of you here in Peru. They all exist simultaneously. So what you're doing, just like in the channeling state, is you're connecting to those other versions of yourself so that you get a greater perception of the personality that you carry, because they're all linked together to you as a being.
So if you just said that there are different versions of me, and again, are you talking about Michael Bloom, the imaginary name and the imaginary temporary body that's going to perish? Or are you talking about the oneness who I really am, which would mean that that's you as well?
You are beyond the body. The body is just a template. It's an instrument. right? Who you are in that sense, through your own perception in that sense, is God.
Yeah, but
There is
you
only
too.
I. Mhm.
You know that
Yeah.
version of me
In
in
our
Peru? Do you have one in Peru as well? And Harry and
Of course,
John and Mark?
every every thought that you can imagine, you're a part of. Did you not imagine it? If you imagine it, that thought exists. That version of you exists. That experience of you exists. You're just not aware of it right now because you have a blanket on, and this blanket talks about this lifetime. Because you're very anchored into the physical plane, you're very anchored into this trance program that we call our full name, our full legal name, and our full body. That's the program that we're interlaced with right now. So once we start stepping out of that and going beyond that, you see other facets of yourself that are simultaneously existing right here and now.
God, that's so interesting. I actually went to a one-on-one session with Bashar, the Israeli Bashar, who channels the same Bashar, and he was talking to me about parallel universes, and he said exactly what you did in terms of thoughts. He said, if you think I was talking about getting a panic attack or something, and he said, well, tell me about what are you thinking while you're having the panic attack? I said, well, I'm thinking about the woman at the bank telling me that I can't get the money, that it won't get through. He said, well, you know that thought, that these thoughts are a parallel universe. Now, you can't ever get there physically. You can only get there with your thoughts. And then he was like, well, how do you feel when you're there? I said, well, I feel terrible. I feel panicky. He said, well, there you go. What's the point connecting to that universe then? Just stay here.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the whole idea, is your thoughts take you to all these different realms, these different realities. Your thought are like chariots, and they're chariots that are taking you to these different perceptual realities. So going to a bank and arguing with a bank teller in that way is another reality. You're not experiencing it physically in the body, but your thought is, right? Your mind is going there. So again, it's telling you, if that's not what you prefer, why bother experiencing it? Let it go, release it.
So what's the ultimate state on Earth for a human being to be in?
There is an ultimate state on Earth. That's not the idea.
Thoughtless?
The ultimate state is to know the I, is to know that you are God, is to know that you are perfect, right? So the whole idea is you cannot pursue that intellectually. That's not an intellectual egoic property that you can ever align to, because as long as you have an ego, you're actually, again, you're that crooked painting on the wall, as long as you continue to look at the intellectual ego. When you actually let go of all of that and you come into the I, right, the capital I, that's who you are. That's perfection. It's stilling yourself. It's getting out of the monkey mind. It's getting out of the logical mind. It's coming into stillness. And when you're in stillness and you are the I, you know that you are God. You are perfect.
Well, that sounds like an ultimate state to me to be in.
That is. That's all there is. All God is perfection. God is the I. God is the self, right? That's who you are.
And the problem is that crooked picture is often trying to reach the state you mentioned, and that's exactly the absurdity of it, or should I say, it's impossible because it's not real. So it can't get out of itself because it in itself isn't real. It's a matter of kind of sinking into the I am, and kind of, or maybe knowing what you're not. I'm not the thoughts. I'm not the perceptions. I'm not the feelings. So, and what you're left with is kind of what you are, which can't be explained, with the terms of the ego and the language and all that, which is often the problem. And you could go to a million retreats and try to meditate and try this and try that. It's all the ego trying to do it, and the ego can't get out of ego.
To quote Ramana Maharshi, just go back to the I. Who is it that is thinking this? Whose thoughts are these right now? Oh, well, they're my thoughts. Who am I? I. There you go. You're now back into the root of God just by saying something like that. You're doing self-inquiry, right? Yeah. So that's what's getting you out of that. So you could spend 1 million hours complaining about your thoughts and complaining about this and how life's unfair and complaining how you have a crooked picture on the wall and spend so much time on that. That's not going to get you anywhere. That's going to just exhaust you and you're going to collapse, right? So you can do that as long as you want. You can do that for all of eternity if you want. That's not going to get you anywhere. It's the idea of coming back to the I, coming back into the root, coming back into the true nature of who you are, because that's how you set yourself free. You're not letting the monkey mind dictate your life. Because as long as you do that, you can have all these conversations, you have all these thoughts just bombarding you constantly. It's not going to get you anywhere. And it's just going to cause you to get exhausted and fall right to the ground.
I can't do it. I could talk about it, You heard. I seem to know exactly what you're talking about.
Do it, but as soon as you say you can't do something, you've made a decision as a creator, right? You've made a decision as a creator. I can't do this, brother. It's not possible. I can't do it. Okay. You've already sabotaged yourself. You've already put up that wall and you say, I can't do that. So you're already making the ego in charge, right? So the ego already says, nope, Michael can't do this. It's not possible. So there's the brick wall. And you put it right in front of yourself. But as soon as you say, you know what, I can do this. I can work on this. I can make this happen. Now the brick wall starts to fade away. And now you start seeing a much more grander, beautiful valley in front of you. Now enjoy that. So be mindful of what you're saying you can't do, or what's unable to do, or what's impossible to do, because you're a creator. Nobody's going to contradict your creations because that's yours.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you. What about core belief systems? All these...
Cancers of the mind. Really, that's all it is. Because again, as long as you keep putting beliefs in front of you, this again is what's obstructing reality, right? If you're looking at a beautiful beach view and you're just basically laying these bricks all on top of it because you're just putting all these beliefs and saying, I don't deserve to go there. I'm not going to be able to go to a tropical island and enjoy myself. And I'm not going to be able to meet a beautiful partner. And I'm not going to be able to make money. And I'm not going to be able to do this, right? All of these bricks, all of these gates that you're putting up, preventing yourself from going there. Your thoughts are sabotaging you before you even have a chance to commit these to action.
So what do you suggest doing? Some people talk about affirmations and kind of how do you find, first of all, you need to find your core belief systems. And once you've found them, you need to kind of abolish them by cutting the legs of the table, which is, what was that? I forgot. Something that the belief sits on. And once you do that, you replace the belief with another one. I mean, do you have a technique or something?
You don't really replace one belief with another belief. That's just a waste of time. What you're doing is you're accumulating love. You're accumulating strength. You're basically seeing yourself in the highest, most beautiful, most wonderful experience that you can ever imagine. And you're accumulating that into yourself. So you're bringing in positive reinforcement. So yes, you're acknowledging that these beliefs exist. You realize that they're there. But now you're going into the other part because you're having a willingness to change. It's like you snap and say, you know what, I'm going to change. I'm going to make all these things go away. I'm going to transform all these things. And now I'm going to start thinking positively. One action replaces another, yes. But you don't have to worry about one belief replacing another belief because that's still just another picket fence. You want to work together and moving yourself up into higher vibration. So it's not a progress to God. It's an instantaneity. It's to know that you are God. It's to realize that you are God. You don't have to go up a ladder. You don't have to go up a set of stairs. It's there. It's happening all at once. Everything is here. Everything is now. Some people will say, oh, you just got to progress in your own way. You don't have to progress. That's a human perspective in regards to that. You want to look into yourself as saying, I am mighty. I am great. I am powerful. I am strong. I am loving. I am blissful. I am compassionate. Right? But you're putting all that into realization. So now you're imagining yourself on this beautiful tropical island. You're imagining your friends and your family are there and they're complimenting you and it's a wonderful time. And you feel love and you feel all this love and you feel lighter than air and you're getting high. You're getting high off of all this love. And now that you're high up there, you can look at all these problems down below and saying, yeah, I don't need those anymore. Clear them away. Be gone. And now they are because you're enjoying being so high. And so now that you know how to get out of it, what's stopping you from continuing to be high on love each and every single day? Nothing. You know how good that feels. If it feels good, why not continue to do it? What you're doing is you're building a reserve bank of all this love accumulation into yourself. So you're naturally high all the time. You don't get caught up in the old maze of beliefs and concerns about mortality and concerns about the world. You have to want freedom more than you want the world. And when you do that, you're free.
Wow. You are what you're looking for.
There's nothing on this planet that would ever coerce me to replace my love, because my love is far greater than anything on this planet, anything on this world. It is greater than friends. It is greater than family. It is greater than any system upon this planet. It is the idea that, again, you're coming into that beautiful tapestry of love, where everything is eternally abound with that love and compassion. There is nothing that would ever coerce me to leave that, because that's greater than anything. You can only love the deepest. Nobody else can love you like you can love.
Okay. What about fifth dimension? Are we in the third dimension, moving to the fifth dimension, raising our frequency? All these energies that are being sent to Earth these days by different aliens and being anchored into Mother Earth by different people? I mean, do you know anything about that? Is it true?
I'm pretty confused by that stuff.
You are, or I am?
I said you sound pretty confused by
Very
that stuff.
confused. No, I'm very sarcastic and doubtful, and I'm not sure. Is it? I mean, I keep hearing it all the time, but I can't see it. I can't actually.
Right. Can't see it, right? Can you see yourself in love? When you love a person, can you see that?
No, but I can. Can I see?
There you go. Then how do you know you're in love, right? If you have a person who you really, really love directly in front of you, how do you know you're in love?
I feel it.
Exactly, right? That's exactly what's happening in regards to these grand changes. I'm not talking about dimensional talk or anything like that, but we're seeing an upliftment, right? Like the whole idea is you don't have to wait, because this is where a lot of people are deluded and saying, oh, in a few years, there'll be this grand upliftment and stuff like that. Well, a few years, what about right now? Right? Right now, you're accumulating love. You're putting it into your reserve banks. You see the grand love tapestry directly in front of you. You feel it in your heart, right? You have to start living here. You're not living like a squirrel that's high on coke or something like that, right? Just frantically, going left, right, and center until they collapse. You want to understand that love is here right now, that you connecting to God is here right now. It's not about dimensional shifts. It's not about upliftment, about these grand times. Yes, that is taking place, but that doesn't matter. It's about you being able to go into the grandest stage of them all, and that represents the love, the self, the perfection, the I, God. That's available to you right now, but the whole idea is that you're unwilling to do the work. You're not willing to commit to the idea of actually making yourself that. You're just still committed in being the monkey mind. You're still committed in being intellectual, because that's what you're constantly giving power to. And if anything is basically spitting in the face of that, you grow defensive and you get angry and you get upset, because you say, oh, well, you're basically telling me that I've wasted my life and looking into all this intellectual stuff. No, you haven't wasted your life. You're going through a classroom. You're learning these things. It's like the idea of being in school. Some people in that sense go really, really quickly. Some people need a little bit more time. Nonetheless, they'll realize that the whole idea of the intellect is not what's going to bring you into eternal life, is not to understand the one life. You're only going to understand everything like a machine, just in regards to the robotics of intellectualism and logic and practicality, because that's the energy that you're putting into your life. And so your life is going to reflect that. No one's going to contradict that, because you're the one that's feeding all that energy.
So self-inquiry is what you recommend?
Well, that's just one idea. It's one idea of many, right? What I basically recommend is fill yourself with love. Fill yourself with love, accumulate that love, create the reserve banks
How?
of all that love energy.
With any techniques like meditation?
I've already told you. Yeah. What did I just say prior, right? You work with looking at all these issues that you have, and you snap, you click, you change, you shift. We don't know when that happens. There's just a drive within yourself and says, you know what? I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm going to change. You have to be okay with changing.
Yeah.
Right? As you start to go into a greater state of change, you're going to find everything that you need. You realize again that you're full of love. You can go into your mind and you can look at beautiful paradises. You can see your loved ones and you're being filled with compliment. You're enjoying yourself. You're feeling the beautiful waters. All this stuff is just elevating you. You're elevating yourself into higher ground. You have to get high on your love, on compassion, on strength, on joy. That's your antidote. And now you're filling up your reserve banks within your being with all of this love, compassion, joy, forgiveness. You have to learn to forgive yourself. Okay? You forgive all of these old tendencies, because if you're not, then you're just going to be stubborn and you're just going to be, putting up your dukes and trying to fight all these belief systems because you yourself have created it. You're basically trying to punch out your own dolls that you've made. And it's these dolls of belief systems. I think, boom, 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 boom. I'm going to beat up this one. I'm going to beat up grief. I'm going to beat up anger. I'm going to beat up jealousy, etc. You're the one that created all these things, for God's sakes. Exactly. You're the one that's just beating up your own creations. You're building these things in a sandbox and you're kicking them down. Right?
Ridiculous.
So put them to rest and now start building something that's beautiful. Start working with yourself.
Yep.
On that loving love.
Perfect. So perhaps we could actually have a taste of dear Adronis ourselves.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Sure. Yes, I will go ahead and bring him through. It'll just take me a moment to bring him through. Once he comes through, he'll give a brief introduction. And then any questions you want to share, feel free.
Thank you.
Here we go. Here star. Sirius Adronis. We are here. At this time, we bid you greetings and thank you very much for the opportunity of this interaction today. I am Adronis of Sirius, sending love, appreciation, and gratitude to all who are tuning into this broadcast through your internet collective consciousness. Thank you, and how may we assist you today?
Hello, Adronis. How are you? How's life on Sirius these days?
We are wonderful. How are you? How is life on your planet Earth?
Well, it depends who you're asking. I mean, some people would say it's.
We're asking you. We're talking to you.
I'm not complaining. Sometimes I am complaining, but maybe I believe that by complaining, I'll prevent myself from getting punished for something that I deserve to be punished for. I don't even know what it is.
You're only going to punish yourself. That's the idea. You can only ever punish yourself. There's nobody else here to punish you.
Not even
when you bring somebody into your life who you feel is a bully, you're the one that's actually putting the fish hook upon that person and dragging them forward because that's what you feel you deserve on a subconscious level. When you therefore resolve that, that bully's no longer there. Now you're surrounded by sweet people, loving people, because you've decided to love, you see?
Kind of. Well, no, kind of. Yeah, I see. I've heard that before. I mean, thank you very much. How about...
You've heard it before, but have you felt it? That's the important thing. It's not just the idea of hearing these things. If you have ears to hear, yes, you have to have your beingness to listen to it. As you listen to it, you apply action to these things. And now you truly understand because you're feeling it and you're acting it out. That's what's important.
Okay. What do you think about my little method of not listening to mainstream news media on the television? I don't read newspapers. I don't use Facebook and all that. I'm completely detached from everything that's happening as much as I can, and I kind of love it. Do you think it's a good thing to do?
All right. What brought you to that conclusion?
I kind of feel that mainstream media is poison. It's like pouring poison into my brain, which is useless poison.
How did you understand that? How did that come into being? How did that happen in regards to saying, well, mainstream media is poison? What brought you to that realization?
Basically, I did that 19 years ago. And over the 19 years, I kind of became more and more extreme with it. And now, with everything that's going on, I'm finally reaping the harvest in the best way, where I feel it's like a drug. So I'm like fully prepared to deal with the drug in the best possible way I can. And it took me 19 years to get to this moment where it's so important, I believe, not to be exposed to the news.
All right. So Michael, prior to 19 years ago, was listening to the mainstream media.
Yep.
And then through that particular point, what happened? You felt a change and said, I'm no longer going to listen to this. I feel like it's poison. It doesn't feel good. I'm going to withdraw from it. You see what we're saying here is that this is the exact same process of one who wishes to elevate themselves into higher states of love. They've made a decision. Just like you made a decision to turn off the television, to put away the newspapers and the internet, and therefore go through this dramatic change, you're going to have that draw to move into greater heights of love, compassion, forgiveness, so that you can clear away all the old tendencies of belief that have been restricting your reality. That same click is going to happen to you at some point.
Okay.
It could happen right now if you wish. But again, that's all about you getting behind the nature to change.
Any specific tips on controlling my repetitive thoughts? That often kind of, if something seems to be going wrong in my reality, let's say I have a business.
Have you ever cleared away a repetitive thought?
Cleared away? Yeah, maybe, but it just comes straight back.
Well, in that sense, if the mainstream media is telling you to do this or to do that, do you listen to them? No, you don't, because you don't even watch them anymore. So the whole idea, again, in that sense, is that you've decided that that is no longer relevant. So when a repetitive thought is coming up constantly, you're deciding that that thought is no longer relevant. And you're building up love and strength within yourself to know that is no longer relevant because I've found something else to replace it. I've replaced an old dwindling thought that no longer serves me with something that really does serve me, and that's love and that's compassion. That's joy to my family. That's joy to my friends. That's joy to the people of the earth. That's the joy to the earth herself. And this brings me into such delight. Well, there you go. You've substituted an old thought with a new one because you brought that forward. And that's elevating you into new heights. So you've made a decision. Your thoughts, in that sense, are just attractors that you're bringing into yourself. It's like a radio station. You're tuning into these dials, you're tuning into these stations, and all of a sudden you're getting all this thought flow. Turn the dial, move it into another station that you prefer to hear in that form of analogy. You see?
Did you just say that I should replace the repetitive thought with another one, like about my family
That's
and about...
correct.
So let's say I'm thinking, I don't have any money, there's no money coming in, what am I going to do? How am I going to pay this and that?
I am so abundant, I have no problem attracting all the money that I require, and it will come to me in such great ease because I can see it, I can envision it, I am reacting to it, I feel it happening, and it's already happening to me right now. And now as soon as you do that, you feel, oh my goodness, this feels really, really good to think of it that way. I'm no longer in the starvation mentality of money because it's no more different than your mainstream media analogy. You've decided that you've had enough. You shifted away from it. You look at that thought. You've decided you've had enough. You've shifted away from it. You're moving into a higher degree of realization that you can attract all the money that you want and that you're seeing it come to you. You're not concerned about the how. You just know that it's coming to you and you're reacting to it like it's already happening. This is masterful manifestation at work. This is you creating that reality where that money is coming to you. All of a sudden, now you have all these donators coming to you. Now you have all these opportunities to where financial abundance can flow to you because you are supporting that new thought. And you're reacting to it. You're getting excited. You're getting happy. You're getting joyful that you see the idea of financial abundance flowing in that way. So therefore, you've shifted yourself all the way up here rather than being, in that sense, scraping the bottom of the barrel relating to finances.
And what if then a few days later,
reality... How that works?
What if reality doesn't support it a few days later?
Who is reality? You are, Michael. Michael, the idea of reality does not think for itself. It's a prop. You're the creator. You're the one in the sandbox. You're the one that's creating other things that can benefit you or can be detrimental to you. You're the one. Reality is a sandbox. You're the one that's making all these things happen. All the choices that you make, all the decisions, all the actions, it's all you. There is nothing in regards to the idea of reality thinking of its own that's going to sabotage you. It doesn't work that way. That's putting the cart before the horse. That's walking backwards.
But that's so
reality
amazing.
Is a stage. Yes. Reality is a stage. You're the creator. You're the director. You're the one putting things here and putting things there and putting things over here because that's what you're deciding.
Okay.
And reality is that all the way.
So
it's a prop.
Get clarifications for that. So what you're saying is that I'm the creator. I could create anything I want. So in terms of money, in terms of abundance, in terms of feelings of happiness and joy, how about, but where's the line? Can I fly? Can I create gold? Can I say I want to see, or not gold? Can I fly? Let's take a really extreme thing, right, like a bird.
Let's take that idea right now, Michael. Let's take the idea of flying, right? Do you feel that you could fly right now?
No.
There you go. That's what's preventing you. You see, you are not feeding the thought for those who feel that they can levitate, who they can actually levitate off the ground. You understand that there are ancient yogis, that there are ancient masters who have unlocked certain abilities like that to levitate, to bilocate, to go to different places upon the planet without ever leaving their body, because they have spent a great deal of time disciplining their minds, going into samadhi, and therefore having siddhis, where they, in that sense, go through these great psychic aspects of themselves, advancing themselves in that way, and can do these incredible things because they don't limit themselves like your egoic mind is limiting you. It's a fail, it's a gate. So when you start to work in disciplining your mind and advancing yourself in that particular way, where you understand the power of a thought, you can certainly levitate, you can certainly fly. But in that sense, right now, you sabotage yourself because you don't feel it's possible.
So can I create a dragon?
You're creating a dragon in your mind right now, just the thought.
A real dragon, a fire-spitting dragon.
What's to make it say that it's not real when you're thinking about it? You see, that's your problem. You still think something needs to be tangibly, physically here in my reality for me to believe it. Well, that's arrogance talking. Because again, that's all you think reality is this physical nuts and bolts reality, and it's not. Your thought that you have about a dragon right now is a reality. You can go and you can fly upon that dragon because all it is a thought. And in that reality, that's happening. When you're working together with a physical reality like this, you have solid rules. You have solid applications. You may start to build a mechanical dragon if you wish. But in that sense, you can just go into your thoughts. You can go into your dreams because that's reality too. Because that's life too. Again, if only you think that everything that needs to be here needs to be in this physical reality, you are diluting yourself. Because that's not the only reality that exists. This is only one template of countless.
Okay, let's talk about what's happening in the world, please, if you don't mind. You know, the corona, vaccinations. Should we get vaccinated? Is there nanotechnologies in the vaccines that are going to dominate us through 5G?
Vaccinations if you're not watching the mainstream media.
Somebody told me.
Somebody told you. All right, so they're just being their mainstream media for you.
Yeah, but very minimally.
All right. Do you want to get vaccinated?
No.
Why not?
Because I believe it's bad for me.
All right, and you're telling other people that as well?
No, I stopped.
Why? Because
I heard from different channelers saying that it's not a good thing. If you want to just don't influence, some people need to get vaccinated.
But beliefs. Again, more people putting beliefs upon you that you're therefore turning into beliefs and saying, okay, I better stop. Yep. So somebody else is having, in that sense, a dominion over you. That, again, is a belief. You see, the whole idea here is that we are not here to judge any of you in regards to how you see your reality. There will be some of you who will decide to get vaccinated. There will be some of you who will decide to be very opposed to it and not even think of it. So be it. It's your own idea as creators to look at that as you're co-creating together. So we do not really have any advice to give you because that's irrelevant. When you look at these things, you have that feeling in your heart and saying, no, that's not for me, or maybe I should get this, or maybe I should do this. That's all part of yourself. If we start putting these ideas within yourself, then again, all that happens is you just begin to adopt belief systems. It becomes argumentative. Therefore, looking into the idea of what's happening upon your planet right now is that people are now facing the brunt of their greatest decisions ever. They are now starting to realize that what they have been a part of pertaining to artificial systems no longer holds a tangibility to them. They're now starting to question it. It's certainly a time of questioning right now. It's certainly a time of moving out of the old and coming into the new, because many people like you are starting to realize the power that is held within them. So this is what's taking place upon your planet right now, is a great surge of leading into a larger step of empowerment within others. People in that sense are going to fight. They're going to get angry. They're going to get upset. They're going to be sad. They're going to be depressed. They're going to be fearful about all of these things that are happening. But the reason why all these things are happening is because change is happening on a grand level upon your planet. For you to question everything, just as you understand you're doing. You're questioning everything. What is the validity of this? Is this really going to help me? Is this really going to be a benefit for myself, my friends, my family? And now you're making all these decisions, and that's the era that you're in. You're in a new decision-making time. You're going to realize the power that you have as a creator within. Some of you may not. Some of you may still, again, scrape at the bottom of the barrel, just like you were doing pertaining to the idea of the loss of financial abundance. So again, it's still very much a mixed bag, but we can see an increase of people taking their power back, realizing the power they have.
And I mean, very interesting. Thank you very much. And how do you feel about humans? Why are you here? What interest do you have in us?
Well, because you're family to us, that's why.
Surely you have families on other stars?
Everybody is family to us. So therefore, humanity is no different. We are going to help our family because we actually share genetic association together with your people.
Did you say help?
We share associated genetic material with your people.
We
help you.
But you said help.
Yes.
You said we're going to help you. I heard you say help.
We're here to help you, just as we're doing right now.
But
it's this guidance.
Why?
Call us in. We're here to assist.
Okay. So thank you for assisting. It's highly appreciated. But because just I heard that you see humans as really interesting and kind of, you say, I think some of you say that it's very courageous to reincarnate in a human body on Earth these days, and you really appreciate that. Can you talk about that a bit more?
Of course, yes. It is highly interesting watching many of you grow and evolve and change, because that is what's taking place right now. And that, yes, we have talked about the idea that the bravest of souls come to this planet, because basically the Earth and the people on it are pretty much the most greatest in regards to duality that we've ever seen. So in that sense, you're going into the great extremes of darkness and you're pulling out these roots and you're bringing it into the light. That requires a very, very, shall we say, advanced type of being to do such a thing. And so, of course, it is appreciated by many people, by many beings that exist within, beyond your world, that are observing.
Have you ever incarnated on Earth?
No, but you would understand that Brad is another version of ourselves.
Yeah, but you as in Adronis, have you ever?
We have not.
Why?
We have not.
Why not?
Because we are here.
So
we are.
Are you saying you're less advanced? Are you less advanced than us?
Explain.
You just said that it takes a very advanced soul to reincarnate on Earth. So I guess you are less advanced.
Everybody has their appropriate place. So therefore, our appropriate place is where we are doing this work, because this is what we've signed up for.
Signed up with who? Where?
Well, who is who? Where is where? What is what?
What is signing up?
Well, again, look into what is happening right now, here in this moment. How are you talking to us?
How am I talking
to
you?
You're talking to us through a channel.
Yep.
You see? There is a contract. There is a connection between Brad and ourselves. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to come through like this.
Okay.
So that is therefore the association. We have gone through our own transformations as well too, but in a very, very different way that some of you may not even be able to relate to at this stage. At a later time, yes, we will be able to share a lot more about what we have gone through and through the idea of our history. But a lot of our history in that sense does not share common ground. Therefore, attempting to share it would only confuse many of you up until you get to a certain point on an advanced level.
I see. So can I ask you about the future, perhaps? What to expect in 20, 30 years?
Well, you're not going to have an Earth like what you're going through right now. It is going through, in that sense, a massive overhaul. So the idea of what you would understand as the corrupt on your planet will be highly minimalized. You're moving into a world where many of you are actually going to start cooperating with each other. You're actually going to start working together. You're going to start producing new technologies that will not harm the Earth, but benefit her. You will start growing more food. You will start building more shelters. There will be the idea of a common ground where everybody deserves food, shelter, clothing, education, and so forth, energy. All of that will be produced through these next years to come in that way. What you're doing right now is it's no more different than the Earth going through a fever and therefore releasing a great deal of parasites and viruses within herself that have caused this fever. The antibodies, the white blood cells are working, and those antibodies and white blood cells are your cells.
Okay. So, what could you say? Many people want to do stuff. I mean, I want to do things. I want to go. I want to create. I want to create a new maybe place in Israel. I'm involved with different people trying to do these settlements, and how we did of unvaccinated people who are going to create a new life for themselves. Organic, healthy, without pharmaceuticals, and then. There's so many other people stuck in the cities, unsure what they should do, and they're very pessimistic, and they believe, it's becoming a dictatorship and 5G and the vaccinations, and we're just going to be slaves, and we're going to be, what is it? They want to dilute humanity, like population reduction and all that. So what do you recommend we do, or maybe we shouldn't do? Just sit, meditate, connect to the eye, feel good about ourselves, and then reality is just going to change accordingly?
To talk to those people who are concerned about those things, it really comes down to, so what? It's not for you to change their minds. It's not for you to control them, because that is exactly why they are reacting in the way that they are, because they have been controlled. And the only reason they're feeling these things is because of fear. They realize these things and they don't know how to digest these things, but they have to figure it out themselves, just like you're figuring yourself out. So in that sense, it all has to come back in regards to your center. As we've stated, you are a creator. You can create anything you wish, but you have to get behind your creations. You have to be committed to them. If you are not committed to them, then they just simply fizz away, because you give no form of viable strength to their creations. It's like the idea of planting a seed in the ground, and now you start smashing the seed to pieces because you don't give it a chance to cultivate. You have to put these seeds into the ground. You have to let them grow. You have to nurture them. You let them expand. You are becoming the living example of the person that you want to be. Is everybody going to become like you? No, of course not, because everybody is unique. But nonetheless, you're presenting yourself into the person that you wish to be, rather than concerning about what all these people are thinking about and what all these people are going through, pretending to hurt, etc., etc. You're not responsible for them. You're just being an example. You're being a shining light example, and you can only create for you. So therefore, as you create for you, everybody else, as you know, just becomes those reflections. And those reflections are therefore enacting themselves out as a complement to your own manifestations. And as you being a reflection to others, you are therefore enacting out these other forms of manifestations as well too. So this is what we call co-creation. You're all co-creating with each other, but you're not here to control each other. You're not here to demand that this is how you have to live and another person has to live. You're going to have that defiance. That's not your call. Live the way that you wish to live and be the shining light example of that. That's all you're here to do.
Did you just say that that since I create everything and all the other people that I come across are a reflection of myself. So if I change myself from within and become happy and whole and balanced and all that, then that will reflect in the other people. So in a sense, I've changed those other people from within myself.
No, you haven't. You've changed yourself to go into a reality that reflects that aspect.
Yeah.
Other people have not changed. You've changed to therefore align to such people. The change comes from you as the center. It does not come outside.
Yeah.
So you are this ball of glowing light. When you decide to glow a nice blue color, the entire surroundings will glow that nice blue color. It did not come from the outside. It came from within. You see?
Yep. So how about
you're reflecting the colors of manifestation you want to bring in, and it comes from your source.
Yeah. Clear. Brad was talking to us about it earlier, how everything is totally upside down because everything you're talking about is just so not how we were led to believe that things are. Right. It's the exact opposite.
This is why we say brave souls come here and start to educate others by being the shining light of themselves.
Amazing. What about more practical things like nutrition? Do you advocate being a vegan? or do you think eating
What we
meat?
would suggest is just eat from what nature herself has provided you. Be as organic as you can. Grow your own vegetables if you can. If you're unable to do that, maybe start a community garden. If you're unable to do that, maybe start talking to some farmers. So what you want to do is just continue to have a lot from the earth, less in that sense that is processed, that is artificialized in that way. You know that's not going to benefit you. Many of you do not need this direction in regards to the idea of food intake. You already know what's good for you. It's just a matter of admitting it.
Yeah. And what about addictions?
Well, again, those are just beliefs. Those are thoughts. You're utilizing the state of an addiction because it's a compensator. You're trying to fill a big void within yourself. But see, an addict doesn't even really know what they're doing. They've had this tendency for a very, very long time, and it becomes natural to them. It's only when they click in and realize, I got to stop doing drugs, I got to stop drinking, I got to stop smoking, I got to start lusting for sex. Because again, that just becomes habits. It's something that happens within their reality where they snap out of it and say, oh my goodness, I have been addicted to these things. So what do? They work on it. They start to substitute, just like we talked about, a higher thought for a lower one.
I see. Okay. Anything else you would like to tell us? Any tips, ideas?
Well, the idea in that sense is to realize the power that each of you hold as a creator. Just as we're teaching you, Michael, about the power that you hold as a creator, that's our greatest message. Realize the power that exists within yourself. You're not here to control anybody. You're not here to change anybody because you can't. The only person you can ever change is yourself. Remember the power that you hold as a creator. Manifest that. Get behind it. You want to commit. Commit to the intentions of the manifestations you want to bring into life. All right? We thank you very much for this interaction. We will now conclude and return to the conduit. One moment, please.
Thank you.
Goodbye for now. Okay, thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Brad. That was amazing.
Does that help?
Do you remember any of this? Did you hear anything?
Oh yeah. Like I'm not leaving my body or anything like that. I'm very much in the background. It's kind of like I just move myself back here, and Adronis is here in the front, and he's kind of like in the driver's seat. He's driving in that way. So I'm just kind of along for the ride. So in the background, I may just be looking at vistas, landscapes, and stuff like that. It's kind of like I'm in a daydream state, right? So I'm back here, he's up here. And, you basically do these kind of brainwave monitorings of yourself. And you see that basically what happens is that it's kind of similar to how Darrow Anchor channels were with me as well, too, is the brainwaves get stepped up, right? So they move up into higher decibel ranges. There's a lot more activity happening. So again, it's not me going into like deep trance or anything of that nature. It's just a heightened connectivity state.
Yep. Okay. Can you please tell us about the healing code cards and what they do?
Yes. Yes, I think I have them right here. So this is the Healing Code cards. This is the new special edition that's going to be coming here in the next couple of months.
Yep.
So the Healing Code cards I've worked with, basically what they entail is there's going to be 44 cards. Right now there's 36 cards from the first version. There's both what's known as the body deck and the mind deck. And what I've done is I've actually been able to imbue spirit light codes directly into these sacred geometrical cards. The geometry and the cards basically represent containers, and they contain a lot of this energy that I basically align into through higher states of consciousness. I bring that in, I program the cards to basically help with repairing the body, with helping to repair certain forms of emotional states, mental states, such as what you find in the mind deck. And so it's really helped a lot of people. There's been a lot of testimonials on Amazon and on my website of people just being able to go through these incredible breakthroughs, incredible shifts. There's a woman that basically had a very severe asthmatic problem, and she was waking up in the middle of the night coughing, and she decided to turn to the Healing Code card. She picked up one of the cards, looked at it for just a couple of minutes. Her asthma went away. It was completely gone.
Can we see one card?
Yeah, I just have to open up the deck here.
Yeah, because I'm wondering, what do the cards look like?
Yeah, sure. See if I can find a good one that looks good on the camera.
Please.
Okay. Here's one that's a skin enhancer. Okay.
Nice.
So again, you see
like a
sacred
mandala.
Geometry. Yep. So you see the sacred geometry there, and basically I meditate, go into these states where I bring in these commands and imbue them directly into the cards. So as you start staring at this for at least 60 seconds, for example, you start getting an effect. You can also charge water with them.
Magic.
You can also just put them on your, yeah. Well, not really. It's natural. It's spirit science, as I call it. So you basically charge your water with it. You can even just put a picture of yourself on the card and just sit it there for 24/7, and you can let the effects come together. So again, if people are very curious about that, check out the testimonials. There's even free sample cards you can download off the website as well too. So try it for yourself.
There's going to be a link underneath this interview, and obviously people, I'm sure, will. I mean, I'm definitely going to check it out. So a few more questions. What is a sovereign being? How do you develop yourself to be one?
Well, sovereign being, again, is like I talked about. It's about the idea of being the I. It's the idea of being the self. It's the idea of being God. So again, moving into sovereignty is to release yourself of any particular burdens. As like I said earlier, you want freedom more than you want the world. You want to be completely free more than anything else on this world. That's your commitment. So to have that sovereignty requires a commitment. It's just no more different than a person who wants to be a doctor, a lawyer, a painter, an artist in that way. They have to commit to that path. So you're committing to the path to completely surrender yourself, stripping yourself bare. I would basically say let the soul be bare naked, and that you're not having any of these foundations of belief systems that are standing in your way from creating who you want to be, that is truly free, that is beyond any form of repercussion of belief systems or thoughts or materialism or anything of that nature. You're letting yourself be bare, right? The idea of someone like Sri Ramana Maharshi is one idea of one who has completely stripped themselves up and have been a sovereign being, because all he did was,
he's
that's an example
of my role model, and everybody else that understands him. And I do listen to a few spiritual teachers, modern ones who totally get him, like Paul Hederman, for example. I don't know if you heard of him, and obviously Rupert Spira and Fred Davis and Muji and a few others, maybe even Eckhart Tolle, who knows. So okay, now how do we work with the mental and emotional body?
Yes, well, the mental and emotional body, and mental body deals with those belief systems. They represent thought process. When you're working with the emotional body, yes, you're working with your emotions, you're working with your feelings. So you want to treat those two bodies just as you would your physical body. Your physical body is material, so therefore you have to supply it with material things to keep the body clean, to keep it in good shape. Now you want to work with the emotional body. You want to make sure your emotions are healthy, are well. You don't feel like you're exploding in regards to devastation and to depression and to despair, because that is, again, what's making the emotional body sick. Same thing with mental body, is you're not thinking nasty thoughts. You're not putting all these harsh belief systems upon yourself that is making the mental body impaired. So in that sense, you just like you're replenishing the physical body, you have to replenish the emotional body, you have to replenish the mental body. You want to, again, bring in strong feelings that support yourself, that bring in love and happiness and joy and the ability to forgive. Same thing with the mental body. You want to start replacing low thoughts with high thoughts, as Adronis was saying. So again, this is all just nurturing those particular bodies. So you have your physical body and you have your subtle bodies. And you want to work with the subtle bodies. Yes, they don't have physical material like the physical body, but they are still tangible, because when you feel, when you work with emotions, when you work with thoughts, that's when you're feeling into those bodies.
Amazing. And what is the synergy working with the unseen forces?
The unseen forces, again, are those invisible forces that are working together with you upon that state of manifestation. So it's like the idea that you're creating the blueprint. And here's the blueprint of me creating a successful business. Here's the blueprint of me having financial abundance. And I'm seeing that energy and I'm reacting to it. I'm feeling great. And I'm feeling wonderful. And I'm feeling empowered. And I'm feeling amazing. As I'm in that state, all of these forces behind me are now working to make that happen. It's like the grids of reality are now shifting. These invisible lines, these invisible streams of energy are actually moving and starting to create everything around you based upon you being the center of that. So the unseen forces, again, are like your servants that are working together with you through the certainty of manifestations that you want to create.
Okay. How about, people say you have the NLP techniques where you are encouraged to sit and write something for 21 days until it becomes a habit and all of that. What do you think of that?
Great. Go for it. If that works well for you. I don't personally do that, but again, if that works well for you, then by all means do it. Do what you feel really responds well to yourself. So if you feel like you have to get a piece of paper, write a line, just like you're writing lines in school in detention, right? You're putting all those lines there and saying, I will be a successful businessman. I will have financial abundance, whatever it is. I will attract a wonderful soulmate to me. Absolutely. If that works for you, then go ahead and try. But what I suggest is just don't limit yourself to one idea. Say, okay, I've tried that. That's cool. Now I may try this thing. I may start looking into just focused meditation. Just start seeing myself with this loving soulmate and seeing ourselves together as if it's already happened. So what's worked well for me is knowing that whenever I manifest things, I'm reacting to it right away as if it's already happened to me. I'm already seeing the effect of it. So I'm already seeing the result happening in front of my eyes. I'm not saying, oh, what's going to happen tomorrow? Or it's in progress right now. No, it's happening right now. It's already taken place. And you're reacting to that. And that works wonders, because that's actually how I've been able to manifest a lot of the things in my life, is being able to see that 5-minute focus. You focus for 5 minutes. You bring in that manifestation of things that are already happening, and you already see that happening in your reality. And before you know it, it comes just before your eyes. So it's a powerful technique, but there's many techniques you can try. It's not so much about the technique. It's the substance. It's the essence behind it. What works well for you.
Amazing. A miracle.
Just keep yourself open to many ideas. That's the idea.
Fantastic. So, Brad, we've covered everything, and we've had a live channeling, which was amazing. And therefore, we've now reached the very final dramatic moment of the show, where you are kindly asked to address your fellow brothers and sisters around the world with a personal, direct message, request, demand, suggestion from the bottom of your heart, your higher self, your cosmic entity, which is you, the oneness. We're all listening. Please go ahead.
Oh, here it is. Let the God out within you. Simple as that. So again, you are realizing the power that you have as a creator, right? If we're basically settling with basically just eating a bunch of dirt sandwiches for the rest of our life, then that's exactly what we're going to eat. But if I told you, it's kind of like a funny story, is like there's a honeybee and then there's a fly. And no matter what the honeybee does, it fails to convince the fly that honey tastes better than crap, right? So are you going to be the fly or you're going to be the honeybee? It's up to you. You can enjoy the sweet pollen of life, or you can enjoy eating the crap of life. It's up to you, because that's what you're putting your energy into. So again, really be open. Be open to yourself. Be receptive. Be forgiving. Be loving. Be compassionate. Remember, everybody here is an extension of yourself. Show that love, show that compassion, show that forgiveness. Let the God out within you.
Unbelievable. Right? Fantastic, wonderful, brilliant, amazing. I've really enjoyed every second of this interview. It was absolutely outstanding, fabulous. And all I could do is just say thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Excellent. So take care. Good luck with everything else. And thank you for coming on the show. And to you, our lovely viewers, thank you for watching. Please feel free to donate, and please contact Brad on the details below. I'm sure there's plenty you could learn from him. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.